Hey, it's Friday, August 5th, 2022. Well, it wasn't long before I had to come back to Texas and talk about my stupid Governor Greg Abbott again. Last time I spoke about him was on the podcast on anchor.fm/Chris-comments, the audio only podcast. Now, I brought him up on that one. I did not get a chance to come up here for that because something brand new came up, and it's just another reason to vote for Beto at the next election time. Okay, a while back in June, I had talked about how Governor Abbott was going to start these meetings and sessions and all this stuff with law enforcement, and nothing was going to happen out of it. Just him giving himself another reason to pay him and his people some checks off of our tax-paying expense. And now it's becoming more and more certified with this whole calling the cops together to make our schools safer thing after Uvalde, the Uvalde Elementary School shooting, after the Santa Fe High School shooting, which the emergency operation plans were completely worthless. The Uvalde school shooting was 100% proof of that. The only thing that the emergency operations plans here in Texas does is finance a bunch of douchebags with guns, combative styled weapons, as we all saw in the file footage of the Uvalde school shooting, to where they get these RVs, these military tank styled RVs, and these machine guns and armor plates and armor vests and all this protective gear, and once they get to the site, they run around back and forth, looking very important, looking very strategic, looking very stealth, but never actually saving any lives, as we found out with the 19 children and 2 teachers being victimized, whose lives got ended by the gunmen. Money goes into these agencies, and all the agencies do is suit up, and they just run around from one side of the school to the other, one side of whatever building to whatever. I mean, it didn't have to be the elementary school. It could have been another Walmart. It could have been a warehouse, assembly manufacturing job, someplace that actually holds 100 employees and who's working for a living. Even if it is just paycheck to paycheck, that's not the point. The fact of the matter is that if some terroristic thing was to happen, the people in charge of the emergency operations plan here in Texas would have everybody that's a part of the team suit up, armor up, and gear up, just to go to the site where the mass shooting took place and just run around from one side of the complex to the other, one side of the building to the other, maybe go in one building and down a hall with a shield and come back out, and run around to the other side, and you get my drift. You get what I'm saying? That's all that it's been pointed out to prove to do. That's all that it's useful for. That being said, Robb Elementary in Uvalde, that shooting really shook us. That shooting really got us pretty bad. And so Abbott is taking total advantage of that with this new, under this new title. Abbott says he wants to enhance safety standards and schools to comply. This was reported on originally on the 3rd of this month. It's August 5th right now. This was reported a couple of days back by CBS Dallas Fort Worth. Okay, Abbott says, we can see from what happened in Uvalde that in fact those laws, in reference to the emergency operations plan developed during the 2018, after the 2018 school security laws, concerning the Santa Fe High School shooting. Okay, we can see, in fact, those laws either did not have the teeth or they were not fully complied with. As we expect to do two things, and we so expect to do two things. One, we expect to reach agreement on even more enhanced standards and ensure that there's going to be teeth to it, so they will be compliance. I'll add to that, we'll ensure. Okay, now that's still adding on to the one. Okay, expect to reach agreement of compliance. I'll add to that, we will ensure that there is going to be accountability at all levels through the process. Okay, so that was the thing that we could expect. That was one out of the two things. He never really said what the second thing was, but he'll add on to the first one, and I guess that's what he meant. That is the first clear sign of BS, that he doesn't really have anything substantial, that he's just going to be suing the government all over again. Okay, hold on. That's my opinion, and I'll get to my opinions at the end of this. Okay. He says he'll add on to make sure that everybody's accountable. Okay, moving on. The school districts are required to perform checks of all exterior doors again, of each school and facility before the new year begins, and then each week afterwards. Okay, moving on. They must also complete partial safety audits. Okay, those are going to be key words there. Those three key words: partial safety audits. And I'll bring that up. Let me just go ahead and finish this. During a Senate committee hearing in June, post-Texas school police chief held conference to make school safety top priority. That was something that I posted about also in June as well, as soon as it came out, or as soon as I got it. I was actually a couple of days late. The director of the Texas School Safety Center said they did not perform compliance checks at the schools themselves because they were unclear whether to have the authority to do so. Okay, now I've also pointed that out in the other post also about the Texas school chiefs having to hold a conference. That one. I pointed that out, what they said also. When asked if that needed to be changed, Abbott said, "It has changed. Here's how it changed. I created a new position, the Chief School Safety Officer in the Texas Education Agency." That's T again, TEA. The person and their team will be in charge of ensuring that schools across the state of Texas will be in compliance. They will work with the TSSC, that's the Texas School Safety Center, the ALERT program, and I'll get to what the ALERT program is in a little bit, the local school ISD police and the local police, to make sure that all these schools will be in compliance with these standards. Okay, he's created a new job, a new agent of the department there, and that's going to be germane to this, my opinions also. That's germane to what I'm about to say. Here he goes again. We all agree on one thing. We want our schools to be safe. We agree we need to have the best safety standard programs in place, and we agree those protocols need to be followed. We will execute on all three of those components. What? Okay, three components. Here's one component: best safety standards programs in place. Here's another one: those protocols to be followed. The very first thing that he said, we want our schools to be safe. I imagine that's the one thing that we're agreeing on. Those other two, the safety standard programs in place and the protocols need to be followed, well, those are two components to that one thing about the school being safe. So what the hell is this guy talking about? Again, it's all the more reason that he really doesn't have anything substantial. He's just trying to look good with his things. Now, all of these things sound... Now we're getting to my reaction. All of these things that Abbott are saying sounds sound. Okay? It does. That being said, it still smells rotten. A figurative phrase for saying it's a sucker's deal, como siempre. You know, for those of you who know that movie. The reason for this is because of Abbott's premises that the solution of handling mass shootings is to have a new official and his or her team check all exterior doors of each school and facility. Those were his words. Check all exterior doors of each school and facility. This is his audit. Speaking of which, the partial safety audits. Okay. This plan supposedly was stated by the commissioner of Mike Morath of the Texas Education Agency, T. Mike Morath, to be taking steps that will significantly improve safety this fall. Okay, this plan. Again, of 3, despite the fact that he only described 2 components, you know, with one thing in mind, oops, excuse me, with one thing in mind, and that's to perform checks of all exterior doors of each school and facility, which adds teeth to the laws that were worthless when he created them in 2018. This is all the change that he said. It's a whole new change. That's teeth adding. It's adding teeth to the laws that are already in effect. The emergency operation plans. Okay. These steps include reviewing school safety procedures, access points, and ensuring locked doors lock properly at all schools across the state. That's what he's talking about when he's talking about adding teeth to the emergency operation plan. It's focus on the locked doors thing. Okay? And what is a program? It has nothing to do with anything but emergencies. And who's in charge of emergencies? Those that are in charge of ALERT program. The ALERT. ALERT. Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training. That's the program. ALERT program. You can find it on alert.org. And this is their words, since 2002, awarded more than $72 million in state and federal grant funding, with more than 100,000 law enforcement and fire officials nationwide, operating on more than 22.7 million for national training. Their words, just an organization, a program for training that's supposed to go working hand in hand with, hold on, let me get back to it. That's ALERT, just the program of training that's supposed to be working hand in hand with the TSSC, which is the Texas School Safety Center, local school ISD police, and local police. Okay? T, ALERT, Texas School Safety Center, any and every ISD police and local police. That's quite costly. I don't believe that the finances to ALERT can support all of those organizations and the people representing them, like this Commissioner Mike Morath and everybody else that finally decides to step up to say this is a good idea. Right now, everybody's still being a little weasel, as far as we all know. Again, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Abbott threw out all of this stuff. We got this organization and that organization and this organization with new brands, with teeth, with new laws and stuff. These are his words, people. I'm not making this up. These are his words. And we're going to all work together. Now, this is what he's always said every time he's done this. And every time that he's done this has costed quite a bit of state and federal grant funding. And as we've seen since that time up to today, it doesn't save a damn bit of life. Nobody's lives are saved. No mass shootings are prevented, if not just plain stopped. Okay? The guys are running out of bullets, then they get shot. The guys are putting the gun to themselves, then the shooting stops. A sneak attack after 72 minutes or 7 hours, 3 hours, to where there's fatigue in the guy, then the law enforcement shoots and stops. The shooting stops. And why not? Why not Greg Abbott does this? It's been working for him since he's been in office since 2015. It's the same bull crap that he's been throwing out there since 2015. And here's the saddest thing about it. The majority of my Texas believes him. The majority of my Texas believes in these programs. The majority of my Texas believes in these emergency operation plans, these organizations, the programs that go to it, and all the state and federal grant funding that they literally believe makes it worth it. That's the saddest part about all of this. My state, the majority of my state, believes this garbage. Instead of taking a step back and realizing what you and I believe, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. I'm not making this up. I'm coming to this conclusion, sure. But I'm coming to this conclusion off of what all of these individuals, representative organizations, the actual organizations, and the people that follow, along with the people that just plain believe. They're all saying this. They're all saying this. And they're not looking at whatever the cost it may be. Unless, of course, they're a part of the programs, then I'm sure they're very attentive. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. So yeah, I meant to do something else concerning Greg Abbott, and I can't really remember what it was. It's on my other podcast. It's on the audio only podcast. I'm still doing the audio only, so that way you don't have to look at my ugly mug. I understand why you would choose to actually watch me, because it's easier to pull this stuff up on YouTube than it is to have to go to Spotify. Look for me through anchor.fm/Chris-comments, as opposed to here in YouTube, where all you have to type is Chris comments and Chris with the apostrophe to say Chris's comments will appear anyway. It'll appear anyway, and my face will show, and that's a whole lot easier and simplified than going to my podcast. And I think the last thing that I did was, honestly, what purpose does the communist country serve? So we are caught up. We are caught up. It was a nice break from getting away from Greg Abbott and the problems that he's causing here in my Lone Star State. it was a nice step. Oh no, actually no. Since the first 20 minutes is gone, let me just bring this up real quick. When you go to my podcast, it'll say another reason to vote for Beto and Biden, and Beto in particular because of the migrants that are being bussed. 4,000 new migrants have been bussed over to D.C. The mayors of D.C. and New York City are pleading the Biden administration for assistance. And they're all saying it's all Biden's fault. Despite the fact that asking for assistance is the standard procedure, regardless of the number of migrants or homeless people that they have. And without the working with the government, simply busing people and dumping them at the Capitol, everyone needs to bear in mind as to how the government is still better than Gestapo Greg Abbott. Oops, excuse me, my governor Greg Abbott. Because all he's doing is just busing people. Biden administration has got holding facilities here. He's got Andrew Mayorkas in charge. He's got everybody that's doing everything while not interfering with law enforcement. Law enforcement is capturing not just migrants but traffickers. You know, they're capturing, and you can see it on the footage where the car isn't really slowing down. They're slowing down at least, but they're not stopping. And all these poor defenseless migrants that were trafficked have to tuck and roll while they jump out of the moving vehicle as the cops give chase to the trafficker that's driving the car. You got tons of footage like this that's going on, and this is what's going on while Mayorkas is taking care of everybody in the facilities, as opposed to Governor Greg Abbott having law enforcement occupy those facilities and treat the migrants like total horseshit, all while traffickers underneath their noses, behind their backs, are cutting across the border, waltzing, smiling away, as you saw in the security footage with that guy that was responsible for 53 cooked migrants in the back of his tractor trailer. They showed file footage of him at the border where he was driving through with a smile on his face. And this is what we get every time Greg Abbott interferes with law enforcement, stopping them from doing law enforcement jobs and checking tire gauges at truck stops, stopping law enforcement from giving chase to traffickers and having them verbally sexually harass, if not actual violate, as still the 4,500 plus cases of rape accused by those that were holding the facilities being done over there. Greg Abbott has cops doing all this crap in these facilities while actual people are being trafficked across our borders, with the exception of El Paso. If you remember the 70 missing, abducted, and trafficked children that were recovered, rescued, and rehabilitated, and all without Operation Lone Star program, another BS program that Greg Abbott concocted. You know, lives are getting rescued, traffickers are getting arrested, migrants are getting asylum. Asylum seekers are wind up sought asylum through the facilities and holding facilities, and going through the same vetting process as the very first people that got bussed up to DC area after they surrendered themselves in 2020. All the more reason to vote for Beto, people, because this Abbott just sucks. And again, what does Biden have to do this? Well, we want to vote for Beto because he's actually doing what he's supposed to, along with the Biden administration's people who are holding facilities and all this good stuff. But also because because of those approval ratings, everybody's bitching and complaining. None are offering any kind of real solution because everything they do is failure. The whole rearranging the law thing while traffickers just mosey on in with smiles on their faces is a prime example of that. And another example, always deporting migrants. They're always deporting migrants, and they're always overwhelmed. And vice versa. They're always overwhelmed, and they're always deporting migrants. That's their solution. As opposed to the Biden administration, who has facilities set up, law enforcement being law enforcement, and people who are doing the exact thing locally, like Beto O'Rourke over in El Paso, doing those exact same procedures, and progress is getting done. Regardless of how much, we're being overwhelmed, this is an invasion that's going on. And again, that all of that quote and invasion and overwhelmed, all those key words are all undermining schemes to sue Biden and get money, free checks signed by Biden, who says, look, I'm helping them out. Look, I'm giving them their checks as part of the infrastructure, who they claim is for the border wall, a wall that is still not completed, not finished, not repaired, not even picked up in reference to the walls, parts of the wall that fell down. Okay, nothing's been cleaned up. Bitch and complain with no real solution. It's all another reason why I'm not telling you to do this, but because technically we can't. That's just inappropriate. And I don't want to tell you, but I am going to tell you that I'm voting for Biden again, because the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding, people. The wall is still not there. In fact, the only state that complied with the regulated aspects of the Biden administration was Arizona, the state that most hates Donald Trump. That hates Biden and follows Donald Trump. They're the only ones that complied with it, sealing 4 major gaps around the Morelos Dam, where it is now it's secured. Now it's a secured border wall. And that happened in this year. Not through any other presidencies. It happens with this one. You take the proper steps and things get done. You listen to the opposition, invasion, declaration of emergencies, overwhelmed, and not only nothing gets done, but traffickers still get to come by and mass kill their own clients their own passengers, and almost get away with his payment, posing as one of the dehydrated victims, and if it wasn't for the security footage at the border, more than likely the law would have believed him that he was a victim. He would have been hospitalized, he would have been given medical treatment till he felt well again, and he would have waltzed right on out of that hospital and back into doing what he was doing. That's what happens under Greg Abbott's watch. That's what happens under Texas Governor Abbott's watch in areas that he's in charge of. You don't have to believe me. You can look it up yourself. You can see for yourself what they're doing. I'm not making any of this up. By all means, check it. See for yourself. Big props is going to go, I'm done now. Big props is going to go to, it's all about the money. Religion is, belief is the tool. Remember that. Now I'm done. Big props is going to go out to all the actual journalists out there, because all I'm doing is just taking a few notes and sharing the message, sharing the news, and passing it on. Big props is going to go on all to like people like Dollemore, Fair Unbalanced, even the Young Turks, who I don't really know if they actually, I know probably the Young Turks do. The Young Turks do actual journalistic studies But I don't know if people like Fair and Balanced or Dollamore from Dollamore Daily, and all the others that I've been noticing, which I'm just going to stick with these two names for right now because I really don't know if I have permission to say their names. But if I do, then I'd like to say, big props go to them, who are doing a hell of a lot more research and a hell of a lot more insight, giving a hell of a lot more insight than an Uber driver who does this stuff on his breaks is doing. I'm just voicing concern. I'm just voicing concern as an ordinary citizen that has to work for a living, that has to make that dollar bill stretch. Like I said in previous videos and postings, I had to switch from Japanese udon noodles and go down to the ramen noodles. Not that that's a bad thing. I like ramen. But I was eating bertelli before this. I was eating udon noodles before this, and variations of it. There's nothing wrong with canned meats, but I was getting butcher style chopped meats before this inflation and before the hard times of the pandemic. I'm just a guy. It's those serious aspects of things that have taken place that is really the real driving force to this show. I would like to be as good as a journalist. I'm actually very lost when I come up with this data and information as to how to put it out there and how to make a report. That guy off of the China Unfocused, actually everybody off of China Unfocused, they're awesome. Tiffany Mayer, and yes, beautiful and everything. And then to top it all off, she's just this great journalistic reporter. Everybody else that does their reports on those shows are awesome too. And big props go to all of those people out there. I strongly recommend that all of you support them. And occasionally, again, if you just want to hear some common sense thinking on common grounds, stop on by on this show. Because you're not going to see a lot of the way you're not going to see all of that over there with those reporters, the way you see it with me. The stumbling, the stutterings, the that kind of stuff. I'm not a professional journalist. I'm sorry, but I hope that you guys at least get the meaning of what I'm coming up with, and understand that I'm not trying to persuade you into anything. I'm that guy that takes a step back, and through mostly that rule of thumb, it's all about the money, belief is the tool. Through most of the time, that's what I'm looking at it as. No matter what the subject. Hell, even the Ghislaine Maxwell one, it's all about the money, belief is the tool. I had to be part of exposing the fact that she's moving to a cushy correctional institution instead of a top max federal prison. Even I had to point that out, because it's she who is using her power and influence and the hold that she has with the client list that she had with Jeffrey Epstein back when she was luring and grooming minors, when she was doing her part in the illegal prostitution of minors. That all entails money. And the belief part is that she literally believes that she's entitled to be in a cushy correctional facility where you can do recreational activities and spiritual healings. as well as her attorneys and anybody up there that's supporting her, or at least supporting her by not demonizing her, or at least supporting her by not just simply sticking to the facts that she was a lure and a groomer to a sex ring. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. You know? Every subject that I do is on common sense, on common ground. My motivation is off of that one rule of thumb. And that's, as far as many people can tell, that's the reason why you come to this show, my show, Chris's Comments. Because it's a little bit of a left turn, a little bit of a right field, a little bit more on the right field, and a little bit more out of bounds, despite the fact that it's very common sense on common ground. It's different. My show is different from the rest of the shows, and I don't expect everybody to be a fan of it. But if there is one thing you can rely on, it's the fact that even on conspiracy mode, I'm still talking about it on common sense, on common grounds. And usually what's backing me up is that quote, that little rule of thumb that I see things in the world. Whenever I look at the world, that's what I'm looking at. All of that being said, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you saw. I'm glad you tolerated my ums and uhs. And I'm glad you tolerated the stutters and the stumbles and the dry mouth and the yawns and the, anytime that I needed a drink of water and all this good stuff. I don't have an editor. I'm doing all of this on a phone on my lunch break. And the apps that I downloaded for free, they say something about editing, but I don't have that option anywhere that I look. I've tried. Not on YouTube, not on Anchor, not on Spotify, not any of them. I don't have a studio anyway, so screw it, it's no big deal. Not to me anyway. But I hope that you all can keep on tolerating me as long as you are looking at me through this very, very amateur level of message relaying. It's incredibly amateur, and I know that. That's the reason why I'm not, subscribe to me, and I'm not saying, buy my merchandise, because I don't have merchandise. I don't have anything to sell. So I hope you all, but I hope you all enjoy these. I keep posting out all of these things out there for a reason, and with moral of the story and all this stuff, but mostly because when we're not talking about the previous mentioned podcasters, you take a step back and you look at the majority of them, and it's all about gloom and doom. These are the facts, but are they really? Here's the reasons for them. Oh, there's no reason for this. And these are the possible outcomes. No, the possible outcome is just doom. There's nothing that's going to come out of this outcome. You get nothing but those opinions. And it's just downright annoying. Everything's so gloom and doom. And everybody else is wrong. Now, I'm not saying everybody else is wrong. I am saying there are podcasters and people who are doing their thing, and they're damn good at it, and they're a hell of a lot more journalistic than I am, who again is just a messenger relayer on common sense, on common ground, no matter how technical the term or legal the term or whatever phrase that's needed to express the opinions or documented information and all this good stuff. You can come down to this show that's going to dumb everything down to a common sense level to where a worker like you and I can understand. That's, and it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and it's my privilege, and it's my honor. I'm very glad to do this for you. I hope to eventually do this with you. Some of you out there, you know who you are. Those of you that actually write papers, who wouldn't mind posting their opinion, on a podcast. I'm putting my email there. Just let me know when you want your voice to be heard, and I'll see what I can do about getting you on this show. Even though technically it's just an opiniontary that I can only put on the philosophy section of the podcast. I can't put it as politics talk because I'm not a politician, and I don't always focus on it. I can't put it on trending. What's the latest scheme of these damn politicians? That's not hip. Okay, so don't expect me to be on trending categories. This is just it. It's just a down to earth show for everybody to enjoy, and hopefully I get to actually hear your comments. One day I hope you get to voice your opinion out there, and I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to see your opinions, what you got, whether you can do it journalistic styled or with pop-ups or whatever, or just do it the way I do, where I write down everything and I read it, so that way I'm not stumbling or trying to remember, oh, what did that article say? If you're going to be a message relayer yourself, by all means do so. This is the time, because we got a lot of people that are backing up hate organizations, some that are backing up greed organizations, corporate level or political level with these agencies and departments. And you got a lot of fools that follow, and you got a lot of fools that follow the few that are really good at speaking to the followers. And a lot of it is anger derived and, hate driven and all this other garbage. And then you got people like you and me who are just, normal people that want normal talk. Please voice yourselves out there. Please make your own podcast. Do it. Or tell me to say whatever you need to say. If you're camera shy, write to me on the emails. I'll state what you need to be said. I'll state what needs to be said, what you think needs to be said. I'll state your voice for you. I'll be your face. Even though my face isn't really all that, there's a reason why I like to be on the audio only, is because, I'm just like this guy, I mean, not to say that I think everybody else that's up there are supermodels, but you could tell they're a hell of a lot more neater, cleaner, more clean cut, less shaggy, less rugged, and a hell of a lot more time to do their jobs, as opposed to somebody like me who's doing it on his lunch break. So there you have it. But yeah, you guys make everybody else out there know that they're not alone any more than you and I know that we are not alone. We've got this common sense on common ground thinking, and we can see through a lot of the BS that's going on, but we're forced to hear a bunch of babbling bullcrap from all those that follow the BS, if not actually take part. But just voice your concerns out there. I'd love to hear them. I love to read them, and I love to relay them. This is Chris with Chris's Comments. Y'all stay safe out there. Have fun. Take care. It's the weekend. This is, after all, Friday. Friday! Yeah! Take care, okay? Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.